Picture this. You're in Toronto, or maybe Vancouver. You earn $100,000 a year. On paper, you've made it. That's the six-figure number you dreamed about back in your 20s. So why does it feel like you're running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up under your feet? You wake up, you fight the traffic. You pay a mortgage or a rent check that swallows half your take-home pay, and by the end of the month, there's nothing left. You're not lazy, you're not bad with money, you're doing everything right, and somehow you're still falling behind. Here's the part nobody talks about. There's a small group of Canadians, maybe 10% of them, who've quietly found the exit door. They earn the same as you, sometimes even less. And yet they own a home with a backyard, they've got real money invested, and they actually sleep at night. They're not smarter than you, they just did one thing differently, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let me show you the strategy that 90% of Canadians completely ignore. It's called geographic arbitrage. And I know that sounds like some Wall Street term, but the idea couldn't be simpler. You take an income earned in one economy, and you spend it in a cheaper one. You move from a place that extracts value out of you to a place that lets you accumulate it. Think of it like this. Toronto and Vancouver are value-extractive environments. High housing, high taxes, high everything. You pour your whole salary in the top, and almost nothing comes out the bottom. Now compare that to a place like Calgary, Edmonton, or the Maritimes. Same country, same currency, the same job in a lot of cases, but the entire cost structure is different. That's the Grand Canadian swap, and it starts with the one thing most people never think to move, your tax bill. So let's talk about found money. If you earn $100,000 in Alberta, your income tax bill comes in at roughly $22,000. Take that exact same salary to Quebec, and you're suddenly looking at closer to $28,000. That's a difference of around $6,000 a year, and depending on which high tax province you're leaving behind, that gap can stretch even wider. Sit with that for a second. That's $5,000 to $10,000 landing back in your pocket every single year, and you didn't ask for a raise. You didn't switch careers. You didn't work one extra hour. You just changed the province on your tax return. Alberta has no provincial sales tax, and it's got one of the highest basic personal amounts in the country, which means more of your money is yours before the government ever takes its cut. That's not a one-time bonus. That's a permanent, annual pay rise that compounds for the rest of your working life. But honestly, the taxes are just the warm-up. The real magic is in the housing swap, and it's almost brutal how lopsided it is. Right now, an average detached home in the Greater Toronto Area runs about $1,100,000. But let's say you don't even own that. Let's say you own a one-bedroom condo, and in today's market you sell it for $800,000. In Toronto, what does that $800,000 buy you? A slightly bigger condo, maybe, if you're lucky. Now take that same $800,000 out to Calgary, to Edmonton, or to the Maritimes. You buy a detached, four-bedroom home for around $550,000, and you walk away with a garage, a yard, and $250,000 of leftover equity sitting in your bank account. You didn't downsize. You upsized your entire life, and you got paid to do it. That's the leapfrog. You skip years of grinding, and you land ahead of where that high-cost market would ever let you climb. Okay, so now you've got some breathing room and a real chunk of cash. Here's where 90% of people make the mistake that quietly costs them a fortune. They take that money, and out of pure habit, they dump it straight into an RRSP. And look, the RRSP isn't a bad account, but it's almost never supposed to go first. There's a sequence here, a waterfall, and getting the order right is worth tens of thousands of dollars over time. So here's the perfect sequence for 2026. First, if your employer offers to match your retirement contributions, you grab that match, always. That's free money, and nothing on earth beats a 100% instant return. Second, if you haven't owned a home yet, you fill your FHSA. This is the single most powerful account in the country, and almost nobody uses it properly. You can put in $8,000 a year, up to a lifetime maximum of $40,000. And here's the trick that makes it magic. It's tax deductible going in, just like an RRSP, and it comes out completely tax-free, just like a TFSA. It's the only account in Canada that does both. It's a genuine cheat code. Third, you fill your TFSA, where your money grows and comes out 100% tax-free forever. And only then, after all of that, do you circle back to your RRSP. Same dollars, same person. But that order alone can quietly reshape your entire retirement. Now here's the layer that never shows up in the headline salary comparison. Call it the invisible buffer. Because it isn't just rent and taxes bleeding you dry. It's the everyday stuff. Auto insurance in Ontario is among the most expensive in the whole country. Your electricity, your childcare, all those boring monthly bills, they swing hard depending on where you plant yourself. Move to the right province, and you're not just saving on the big ticket items. You're saving on 100 little ones too, quietly, month after month after month. And if you've got kids, it gets even more interesting. The Canada Child Benefit is a federal payment, so the amount gets calculated the same way right across the country. But that same check stretches a whole lot further in a city where your housing and your childcare cost half as much. Same benefit, double the buying power. That's the invisible wealth buffer. And it's working for the movers every single day, while the people who stayed behind never even notice it's gone. Now, I already know the objection running through your head, but my career is here. The big companies, the promotions, the opportunities, they're all in the big city. 10 years ago, you'd have been completely right. That was the career sacrifice, the tax you paid for leaving. But that world is gone. Remote work is normal now, not some favor your boss grants you once a year. And high-speed satellite internet means you can run a flawless video call from a farmhouse in Nova Scotia or a quiet suburb outside Calgary without a single dropped frame. The office came to you. That old trade-off, big city income or small city lifestyle, you just don't have to choose anymore. You keep the salary and you drop the cost. That's the whole game. So let's fast forward. Let's look at two people at age 40 who both started in the exact same place. Same job, same income, same ambition. The first one stayed. She's got the downtown address and the story that goes with it. But she's also carrying a mortgage north of $1 million, and most of her paycheck vanishes the moment it hits her account. On paper, she looks successful. In reality, she's a debt slave. One bad year, one rate hike, one layoff, and the whole tower starts to wobble. The second one made the swap in her early 30s. Her home is nearly paid off. She's got money invested, an emergency fund, and actual free weekends. And here's the thing, she isn't richer because she earns more. She earns the exact same as the first woman. She's richer because every dollar she makes goes further and stays longer. That's the life gap, and it doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It just quietly widens, year after year, until one day it's a canyon nobody can cross. So here's what I want you to walk away with. For years, you've probably blamed yourself. You told yourself you should budget harder, hustle more, cut out the coffee, but maybe, just maybe, you were never the problem. Think about a seed. You can have the finest seed in the entire world, but if you plant it in dry, rocky, depleted soil, it'll struggle no matter how hard it fights. Move that exact same seed into rich, deep, generous soil, and it explodes into something incredible. You are not a bad seed. You've just been planted in the wrong economic soil. The 10% who got ahead didn't stumble onto some secret investment, they just picked better ground. And here's the beautiful part, the ground is a choice. It always was. If you learned something, like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.